Happy Friday. This is Asia on America on IntellectualRadio.com. My name is Asia Shakur, aka Hood Oprah. Man, it's been a whole year since I've been here. Like I said off the air, I just want to thank Intellectual Radio for still holding space for people like myself to come and have intellectual thoughts, intellectual shows. Um, Man, so much has happened in this whole year that I was off. If you are just now listening or tuning in, my show is Asia on America. I talk about socio-political things that affect us as Chicagoans on the west side of Chicago. I also highlight and spotlight Black business. And sometimes I talk about, trending topics that may come across in the media. I've been off a whole year. And like I was telling the producer Earl, I started this journey in about 2019. It's been different things. I was on Thursdays. I was on Sundays. I had a co-host, a male co-host. I had a woman co-host. And now this season, I'm going to primarily be doing it alone. This is something that I've struggled with the entire time that I've been doing this show, is doing this show alone. But like I was just speaking, sometimes the journey is about you taking it alone, because nobody can really live your dreams but yourself. So I'm going to be more intentional about this show. I'm not going to probably do it every 2 weeks like I used to, because I got a lot on my plate. I'll dive into that a little later. I wrote all my things down. Funny, when I first started, I just did everything right off the top of my head. I never had any notes, never had any paperwork, never wrote anything down, never prepared anything, just kind of did it freestyle. And yeah, it kind of worked, but it was hard to, maintain some consistency about it. When I came back around after, I don't want to say it, but the pandemic, I started having outlines, emailing my guests, giving them a rundown of the show, but still not really having it cohesive in thought. So when I reached out to Intellectual Radio to let them know that I was coming back on air, I sat down and I really gathered my thoughts together. So if you don't see me looking at the camera, it's because I'm reading my notes. I just want you guys to listen and get a gist and hopefully pull some nuggets from this. I didn't disappear. I was carrying something. I want to start by saying this plainly. I didn't disappear. I was carrying something. I've been off the air for a while, and I know this world silence gets interpreted as disengagement, as quitting, as falling off. But sometimes silence isn't absence, it's survival. Stepping away was necessary, not strategic, not planned. It was absolutely necessary. Life equipped required my attention in a way that didn't leave for commentary, recording schedules, or showing up polished. I was taking care of my father. I was showing up in ways that didn't get applause, likes, or acknowledgement, and that experience changed me. Caregiving shifts you and everything that you do. It changes how you hear conversations about healthcare, labor, access, policy. When you're sitting in waiting rooms, navigating systems, advocating for someone you love, you realize how quickly, how much of America is built on assumption that people have time, money, energy, and support, and how many people actually don't. You hear policymakers talk about resources and options, but you start asking for who. You hear conversations about work and productivity, but you see firsthand how invisible labor holds family together. You understand that access isn't just about availability, it's about whether people can realistically reach what you're supposed to be there. Being off air taught me a lot about silence. Silence isn't always a weakness. Sometimes it's restraint. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's rest that your body and spirit demand, whether your calendar agrees or not. And sometimes silence is responsibility, knowing that you don't have the capacity to speak thoroughly yet, but choosing not to speak at all. But there's also some things that I learned, that silence can't be permanent when you have something to say. And y'all know that I always do. Coming back now matters because I'm returning clearer, less interested in noise, more grounded in what actually affects people's lives. This season of Asia on America isn't about reacting to headlines just to be heard. It's going to be about asking better questions, telling the truth as I see it, and making space for conversations that don't usually get time or grace. A lot of people aren't disengaged. We're just simply overwhelmed. And I want this season to sit with that reality, to talk about systems and policy, but through the lens of lived experiences, to talk about Black owned business, not trends, but as people navigating barriers to talk about Chicago as it really is and how it's marketed and how it's not marketed. So if you've been quiet or tired or carrying something yourself, this is the space for you. We're starting over. We're continuing, and it's just from a more honest place. And when I say I was carrying something, I don't mean just one thing. I mean everything started happening at once. Over the past year, I lost my job. And anyone who's been through that knows it's not just about income, it's about identity, stability, and suddenly questioning your direction. On top of that, I was dealing with my own health issues. I found out that my blood pressure was near stroke levels, and that was a wake up call that I couldn't ignore. It forced me to slow down and look at how much I was really carrying and how long I've been carrying it and how I had normalized the stress that had come with that. We talk about stress like it's optional, like people choose it. But sometimes stress is the byproduct of responsibility. Sometimes it what happens when you're holding everything and everyone together. In the midst of all of that, I lost a very good friend. And grief doesn't always show up loud. Sometimes it sits quietly in the background while life keeps moving and people keep expecting you to show up the same as the way you were before. There wasn't a time to stop. There wasn't a time to fully process. And the reality is that for a lot of people, especially women, especially Black women, a lot of us don't stop because too many people are dependent on us. That kind of loss changes you. It adds weight to everything that you're already carrying. And even in all of that, there was moments that reminded me why I keep going. Darren graduated. And if you don't know, Darren is my son. He's 14 years old. He's nonverbal and autistic. I am a single parent. And challenges, I'm taking a break from my script, but challenges with my son are hard, especially as he's getting older. Teaching him how, because I am not a man, but teaching him how to be a man, understanding his ebbs and flows as he's navigating from coming from grammar school to high school. He went to a predominantly Hispanic grammar school, and now he's in an all Black high school. Understanding his growth and his spurts, he's getting taller every day. He's growing facial hair. He's getting muscles. The frustration that he feels when he's going through changes and he can't express himself. The meltdowns, the tantrums, the challenges that we face together, me and him as a family. It's just him and I, as my other son, who has been such a detrimental and helpful part of us, is in his second year at DePaul. Couldn't be more proud of him. So now it's just me and Darren at home for the most part. So just being active and there for him. Having to step away from the year allowed me to get the rest that I needed so that I could be a better parent for him as well. So watching him reach the milestone meant everything to me. As I said, he's now a freshman at Westinghouse and he's doing so well. Seeing him step into this new chapter reminded me that progress doesn't always stop just because life gets heavy. And like I said, Deron, he's in his second year at DePaul. I'm extremely proud of him. Watching my children grow, find their footing, and moving forward, even when I felt uncertain, was grounding. Sometimes your kids are evidence that you are doing better than you think. After losing my job, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go next. I took a short position with a community based business. My background is in hospitality management. And I knew coming from the trucking and logistics industry that I wanted to do something that was more impactful for my community. I'm always on social media, you know, challenging the status quo, asking the questions that matter, sharing the stories that don't necessarily get heard, promoting the people that don't get seen. And I know that I've always wanted to touch the community and not just in a stand on my proverbial soapbox and just dish out posts or just push out money or just have my show. I really wanted to touch and impact the community. So I took a short position with a company who had strong ties to a lot of community. But for lack of a better word, she wanted me to be a flunky. And y'all know I'm nobody's flunky. But I went to school so that I didn't have to do grunt work. A lot of people in this world of this instant gratification world, they want to skip the process. You cannot skip the process in life, whether it's with your health, your wealth, your mental. You can't skip the process. I went to school so that I didn't have to go and do work that I didn't want to do. I took the necessary steps to rebuild and rebrand myself so that I can be what I wanted to be. And in that short experience, it showed me exactly why I went to school, because I don't want to do work that I don't want to do. But the work that I do want to do is touching the community, impacting the community, which led me to Family Focus. Family Focus is a nonprofit. They have different organizations across America. I am currently at Family Focus Lawndale, which is primarily on the west side of Chicago, and I am working in the west side of Chicago grammar school. I am a parent mentor coordinator, meaning that I'm in the schools with parents, reaching out to them, providing them with resources, support, emotional support, spiritual support, connecting them with things that they need. And I'm on the ground, on the floor with people that matter the most. In an underperforming school, teaching them how to navigate the system of CPS. One of my mothers has a child who is autistic as well. So having that commonality with her, teaching her what to ask for in an IEP, what to speak about with the teacher, things of those nature. That role aligns with who I am, what I value, and how I want to show up in the community. Sometimes the wrong fit is just that. It's not because not because you took a misstep, but it's just forming you and telling you and teaching you where you need to be. And in the middle of all of this, caregiving for my daddy, health scares, work transitions, daring and advocating for him, service never left me, especially service for my son. If you are a fan of my show or you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you always know how I speak about my son and how important Darren is to me and how I always have advocated for autism. And let me just go on the record and say, I don't know all the answers. I have never known all the answers. But as my mother said, the dumbest question is the one that wasn't. So I'm always continually teaching myself, learning, always about any subject, not just autism, but just in general. So I thought about, after my losing my job, being with this other job, what can I do? How can I take all the skills that I have? I have a degree in hospitality management. I'm such a good people person. I want to work in the community. I'm working with this nonprofit. I want to bridge people. I want to educate people. I still got my show, even though I'm on hiatus. How can I put all these points together? Create your own nonprofit. And so that's why I am. It came from being in neighborhood schools where resources were limited and support depended on how hard you pushed and how often you showed up. From realizing what families were being offered wasn't always what they actually needed. And from watching how quickly children with disabilities are misunderstood when systems aren't flexible enough to meet them where they are. Darren is nonverbal, and for a long time, people focused on what he couldn't say instead of what he was communicating in other ways. His silence, just like the silence that I did from 2025, taught me how much gets missed when systems only recognize one kind of voice. It taught me that if I didn't speak up, ask questions, and push for something different, nothing was going to change. Not just for him, but for other families navigating gaps with fewer options. So for years, this nonprofit idea, which is called Darren's Voice and name of my son, as y'all know, my favorite catchphrase is, he is my heart and I am his voice. For years, it's lived in my head, in school meetings, in calls that went nowhere, In conversations with parents who were exhausted but determined. I knew the resources weren't there. I knew the need was real, and I kept asking myself, "I get to it later." I kept telling myself, "I get to it later." When life slowed down, when things felt more stable, I get to it. The same hurdles that I encountered while taking care of my father and the red tape of healthcare were the same ones I encountered while advocating for my son. And that was the moment when everything clicked. That's when everything came together and said, Asia, you know what you have to do. Losing my job and then walking away from work that didn't fit forced me to stop postponing. That moment made it clear that the thing I kept carrying wasn't going to wait for the right time. If it was ever going to be built, what I envisioned for my son and other families, it had to start now, and it had to start with me. Darren's voice is about creating safe, affirming spaces for children with disabilities, especially autistic youth. It expresses them through art and music without being rushed or judged or misunderstood. It's also about supporting families, especially mothers, single mothers, who are navigating systems with limited resources and even fewer answers. I'm launching this work here in my community of Austin on the west side of Chicago because it's home. I was born and raised in Austin. I moved to Lawndale in my adult years, but then I came back to Austin. So Austin will always be home to me. These are the neighborhood schools. These are where the families are asking the same questions I once asked. So of course, it would be that I will start my nonprofit there. As a sad note and a segue, I'm hosting my first public event February at the Austin Branch Library. If you are friends with me on social media on Asia America and my other page, Darren's Voice, I have all the details there about how to sign up. It is free, open to the public. It's just a forum so that I can connect with families, let them know what's going on, let them voice to me what is needed, and then we can bridge a gap to the new beginnings. This organization isn't a side project. It's just thorough line. And it's all what's been pointed to from me taking care of my father, from me losing my job, to me advocating for my son, to me losing my friend who inspired me to do this show to begin with. A lot of us aren't disengaged. We're overwhelmed. And if you're listening to this and feeling like it hits you from every direction, I want you to know that you are not alone. This season of Asia America is about naming what we carry, answering, questioning systems around us, and making room for real conversations, not polished ones, but honest ones. I just really thank y'all for always supporting me, for always pushing me, for always, being in the background asking, when are you going back on air? I want to be on your show. For all the inboxes, for all the congratulations, and I'm proud of you. Y'all really keep me going and keep me grounded, and I really do appreciate it. Last year was kind of dark for me. I feel like I'm about to cry, and I feel like that, so don't judge me. Last year was kind of hard for me, especially having to do it alone. As y'all know, and if you don't know, my mother's gone, so it's just me and my siblings. And taking care of my dad took a whole lot of me. Um, I'm thankful that he's back. We still got a ways to go, but that was a challenging part of my life. And like I said, I didn't even realize how stressful I was trying to take care of everything and everybody and putting myself to the back burner. I don't want y'all to do that, especially my black women. I don't want y'all to keep taking on the weight of the world. The future depends on us. Our children are falling out of control. The world as we know it is changing every day. There are policies that are happening that are undermining and undercutting everything that we know to be normal. The time is now for us to take back our streets, our communities, our children. The time is now. And if I can stand with y'all in solidarity and show y'all that through the challenges, through the adversities, through the hurt, through the pain, that one we must take care of ourselves, and two, it's up for us to make the change, then I welcome that. Everything that you can ever think about in life, you can attain it. There's nothing too greater that you cannot do. We talk a lot about, the president and what's going on and the changes that he got in the Constitution, how he's breaking things apart. It's up to us to change that. Never forget, those things were never written for us. Those truths that hold self-evident that all men created equal were never written for us. We've gotten too complacent living in a world that never have cared about us, especially our children. I saw somewhere that black boys are targeted before they even get out of the womb. So I challenge all of us to not just only be on social media talking about it, but to actively be about it, because our children really depend on us. I'm supposed to do this for an hour, but I just really wanted to get on here and get some clarification about why I was gone, what I've been going through, and just let you guys know that in spite of all, we can always be okay. So I thank y'all. Thank y'all. I'm crying on the inside. I swear I am. Again, I thank y'all for always supporting me on this journey that I've been on, not just with this show, but a lot of y'all have seen me grow from who I used to be to what I am now. And it's going to be a lot of people who going to challenge who you are, who are used to you being who you were. Don't let that deter you from who you're going to be. This is Asia on America on Intellectual Radio. I didn't do my hour, but I'm back. I love y'all.